What up, Wizards? It's Deb from The Place. Forgive me if I talk fast, but I gotta keep the pace because Wizards went buck wild yesterday at Gencon. They gave us like 20 different products to look at and talk about, and they range all the way up until 2026, so a pretty far glimpse into the future here. But to get through all of it, we got to go ahead and get going. I'm going to try to do this as succinctly as possible while still giving you some of my opinions as if you care. But here's the flip side of that. I actually do really care about your opinions. Get down there in the comments section. Let me know how you feel about some of this stuff. Not only the Universes Beyond stuff, which I think is going to be really polarizing, but also especially the newer stuff that's actually like in Magic Universe. I think a lot of that sounds really cool to me, but I'm interested in how the whole community feels at large. So let's go ahead and jump into it, starting with the Universes Beyond things. I want to go ahead and get that stuff out of the way without yucking anybody's yum. Some of this doesn't look too appealing to me, but I know that it will to other people, and I'm not going to take that away from you. Starting with this monstrosity right here. I know a lot of people really like Jurassic Park. I haven't been one of those people in a long time, but again, not going to take anything away from you. This obviously goes with Ixalan in a pretty easy marketing slam dunk tie-in kind of way, right? And a lot of people are probably going to really enjoy this product. This is comfort watching for a bunch of people. They really enjoy the Jurassic universe or whatever. So again, just because it hasn't really been my thing in a while, I saw the first Jurassic Park in theaters when I was like 10 years old. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen, and I haven't really seen a Jurassic Park movie since then. I just haven't really followed the franchise, so this isn't a product for me, and that's okay. This is a product for a whole bunch of people, and that's okay too. Now, interesting wrinkle here about these Jurassic Park cards. I think you're supposed to call the property Jurassic World now. Can't do it, doesn't matter. But something I noticed about this here is that they're gonna be Jurassic World cards. I guess I did it there. In Lost Caverns of Ixalan set and collector boosters, and they're going to be mechanically unique, so like not reskins. So I don't know that they ever actually say, I've listened to this part of the video like 12 times, and I don't know that they ever actually say that these cards are or are not going to be officially part of the Ixalan set and standard playable and all that. I would assume that they're probably not, or that maybe they are reskins, but again, they say mechanically unique Jurassic World cards in set and collector boosters of Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Again, that doesn't mean that they're officially part of the standard legal set or anything. Maybe it's just like, oh, you get one Jurassic World dinosaur every booster, and it's fun. You get the guy that spit the acid in Newman's face or whatever, you know? And like, maybe that could be kind of fun, but I'm interested in sort of expanding on what they mean by some of their verbiage here. Up next is Fallout. We're gonna UB Fallout, and this one is a series of commander decks, which might be cool, you know, a la Warhammer, I guess, something like that. This is all right, I guess. I'm getting more and more comfortable with Universes Beyond crossovers, which is exactly what they want, right? And we're going to get to one in a second that I actually like am unashamedly can't help but be kind of excited for. And you know which one it is already if you know anything about this, and you're probably, you might hate me for it. I kind of don't care. I want to play with the cards. I want to at least see the cards. Can't wait to cover that one. But this one, I'm just kind of interested in. I'm not the hugest fan of the Fallout games. I played Fallout 3 like everyone else in Civilization. And then I also played Civilization, Sid Meier's Civilization. But I also did not play a Fallout game after 3. Maybe actually I played a little bit of New Vegas because it came out like while I worked at Blockbuster. So I think I played it for like 5 days. And that was it. So I don't have this like massive affinity for the Fallout series, but I do think that it's cool. Right, so I'm kind of interested to see what they do with this, but ultimately it's not a product that I'll probably buy or pay that much attention to. But there's going to be people that dig this, and again, I want to point out and just stress that that is okay. If you're into this product and you want to see what they do with the world of Fallout, what's Nuka-Cola going to be? What's that artifact? You know, maybe, so maybe. I'm interested in how they tell the stories of Fallout and all that, but, you know, beyond maybe taking a look at the cards from time to time, I'm probably not going to have too much interest in actually purchasing this set. Up next is the one that I had the least interest in, and that's Universes Beyond Assassin's Creed. I guess it's fine. I keep thinking that Assassin's Creed is this, like, video game property that is like done, and then it isn't. It's just like never done for some reason. It's fine. I played like one Assassin's Creed. I think I literally played the first Assassin's Creed. Again, I came out sometime around the time I worked at Blockbuster, so maybe I played a little bit of the second one. I can't really remember. All I really remember is diving into like carts with hay in them. That is the one memory I've retained from these games. So, I mean, I guess the occasional assassination too, so whatever. But an interesting like property that's been driven into the ground. But again, there are plenty of video games that fit that description that I'd be really excited. Like, hey, you do a Devil May Cry Universes Beyond. That game has been pile driven all the way through the pavement, but I would probably be interested in what you do with that, right? So there's probably some people out there that are really interested in what Ezio is going to actually look like. Did I get his name right? Is it Enzio? It's Ezio. It's the only one I know. There's like 50 other people in this franchise. I've only played like the one, so I don't know. Again, not too much interested in this. It's probably again the one that I'm least interested in. But I know there are like 4 of you out there that are probably kind of interested, right? So here's to you. I'll say here's to you, man. That's totally fine. Now, the reason that I say all this about the universes beyond, and I'm not being too hard on them or anything, I'm not doing the angry YouTube commenter thing where this is the end of Magic and I'm never playing again because Assassin's Creed, I hate Ubisoft. I do hate Ubisoft, but and I also should hate the next company. I think they have some pretty shady practices, but all that said, I just cannot help but be excited for this last Universes Beyond, and I really don't want to be a hypocrite and tell you that you can't enjoy your thing, right? Because I kind of can't wait for Final Fantasy, man. I have to admit that I am super excited for this. Not like super duper excited. I think there's going to be some wasted slots in here. Talking about some characters I don't care about, but, maybe you care about the ones I don't care about. But when it comes right down to it, I can't wait to see some of my favorite dudes from 4, like Cecil and Kane and Rosa, and it's going to be amazing. Like some of my favorite dudes from Final Fantasy VI, like what's the Terra card going to look like? Edward, Sabin, Cyan, Ultros. There's going to be an Ultros card. That'd be sick, dude. Celeste, let's go. There's going to be, Sephiroth card. Let's go ahead and get that. I should have said him first. Cloud, Barrett, Kate, Sith, Tifa. Oh man, even like Lightning and like Nox or whatever his name is from 15. Like I'll show them some love, Oh, I didn't even say like Vivi from Final Fantasy 9, Titus, Waka, right? Like there's man, look, what is her name? Lulu, is that her name? Lulu from Final Fantasy 10, the sorceress lady with the like little Moogle that dangles, like she's got like a Moogle that follows her around. She's got the sweet dress, dude. It's like there's gonna be so many like amazing legendary creatures in this, and there's spells too. Like, are we gonna play? I wonder if they're gonna number spells. Right? They're gonna have fire, fire 2, fire 3. That would actually be hilarious. Are you gonna be able to cast Meteo? Are they gonna make a Meteo card? Like So I'm gonna nerd out over this for just a second. I hope you don't mind. That was basically it. That last like minute of me just naming stuff from Final Fantasy was me nerding out about this. I'm pretty excited. I can't wait for like, I guess, spoiler season for whatever this is. It's just a straight up Universes Beyond set like Lord of the Rings was. And that's kind of sick, dude. Can't wait to see that Terra card. There needs to be an Ultros card. I'm state right now. If there's not an Ultros card in the set yet, there needs to be one. Design it. I want it. But that's all for the UB stuff. Let's get into the actual Magic the Gathering stuff. Well, I guess we can bridge the gap here with one final sort of Universes Beyond crossover. And that is, as you see, Ravnica Clue Edition. Well, Hasbro owns both of these things, right? So I guess like a Clue mashup makes sense. But the reason I bring this up is, again, to kind of segue from the UB stuff. We don't even really know what this product is at all. This is one of the more mysterious things that they actually brought up because they gave us very little information about what it actually even is. But it's a good jumping off point to say that we're going back to Ravnica again. Return to Ravnica. But this time we're doing it a little bit differently. Marky Mark is finally getting to do his murder mystery set that he always wanted to do. We're calling it Murders at KARLOV Manor. I would assume that a lot of murders take place at KARLOV Manor. I don't know why they're making a big deal out of this one or whatever, but still, apparently there's going to be a bunch of like detectives and stuff in this set that are looking to solve this like murder mystery, and it's going to be part of the story and the plot and all that. And I wonder if at pre-release there's going to be a fun mechanic where you solve a mystery or whatever they end up doing with this. But Ravnica is an interesting backdrop for this. We've already seen at least 1 or 2 images from this thing. The guy with the camera from a couple of weeks ago when they did a panel like this the last time, obviously from this set. So Interesting theme. Obviously, I like, murder mysteries. I don't know if it's obvious, but I like Glass Onion. I like Knives Out or whatever. I like Agatha Christie, I guess. I don't know. I like a good murder mystery and all that. We'll see if it's cringe when you make it Magic the Gathering themed. We'll see. But I do think this is fertile ground for design, something they've never done before, and they're reaching out. Another thing, I like when they try to do stuff they've never done before. I always want them to do that. They are kind of going back to Ravnica as a bit of a comfort blanket here. So we're going to try something weird with this murder mystery set. So let's at least go back to Ravnica, and fans will eat that up if they don't even if they don't like the set. At least we're going back to Ravnica. They'll buy it, Cynical view, but I'm pretty sure that's part of the thing here. They're taking a real leap with the murder mystery theme, but honestly, like, true crime is one of the biggest things in the world right now. So in terms of marketing, I'm pretty sure you can sell this set, and I don't know why higher ups would need any more assurance. Oh, we'll set it on Ravnica. All right, rubber stamp it. People love Ravnica. One thing about this, though, is that there's not going to be any guilds. They're not doing guilds this time. They're going to completely throw that to the wayside and do Ravnica like you've never seen it before. That was something I feel like they just kept saying over and over. Like you've never seen it. Ixalan, like you've never seen it before. They love that phrase. So completely different Ravnica in terms of like mechanics and themes and stuff here, but still going to be Ravnica, all the locations and some of the people that you maybe know and love. Or don't. They're all going to be there. Like, what's Niv Mizzet? They're going to give him a little monocle and a detective hat, like Sherlock Holmes, a little pipe. That would be great, actually. Would Niv Mizzet not already just beat all the other detectives? Would he not be the best detective in the world? Case closed, Niv Mizzet. I think that we've actually found a massive plot hole at this point. But let's move on to the next thing. Like some art from this set with the murders and such, This right here, I wonder if I'm going to get demonetized for saying murders. I hope not. Patreon.com/SPMTG. Just in case. But here's a hedge maze. You see how it's a murder mystery set and they're doing a hedge maze? You see how they just do like things that are cliches in that genre? Don't stop doing that. I actually really, really like that. But, here's the guy with the camera. Remember the guy with the camera? Here's a dead body. It's not actually a YouTube algorithm. It's not actually that. It's just asking for it this video, aren't I? There's also this. There's obviously Kaya in the background, and then there's this gentleman. Also a hooded figure back here. What could that be? Lurking in the shadows. A lot of stuff and not a whole lot of actual information here. So that's kind of interesting. This guy's cast in fractals. You from Strixhaven? Hey. Apparently, we're going back to Strixhaven for one of these sets. Did you know that? We'll get to it later. Let's move on to the next thing. Hey, while we're in Ravnica, we might as well spend as much time there as possible, right? I guess that was their thought process here, because right before the Murder Mystery set comes out, we're getting Ravnica Remastered. Hey, you remember Dominaria Remastered from last year? No? I'm not sure a whole lot of people actually do. It was a great set at the time. I was pushing for it, and I don't usually push for sets like that, but I thought it was a cool idea, cool cards and all that. Good way to reprint some things, pick up some stuff for cheap, have a nice draft environment. Anyway, they're doing that with Ravnica now, so it's just going to be cards from the plane of Ravnica, all in one set, put together, some cool reprints, draft environment. It seems fun to me, but do you want to spend, X amount of dollars on this product when you could spend X amount of dollars on the next standard product or the Universes Beyond Final Fantasy or the next Modern Masters thing that you're excited for? Right, so you got to budget your money, and I think that was the problem with Dominaria Remastered, not really getting a whole lot of love, and that's probably going to be the same thing with this guy right here. But Ravnica Remastered is at least a cool idea. Good idea, Wizards. Maybe if you didn't put out so many products people felt the need to buy, they wouldn't be like, I can skip this one. But I think people probably are, but I still want to praise you for what is a cool idea. Up next, we go to a really cool idea that I probably am going to end up liking a lot, with the silliest name, just the silliest imaginable name that you could ever come up with. We're going to look at Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Pew pew, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, woo! But this, I just can't, I cannot stand the name of the set. I really can't. It sounds so lame. The Outlaws of Thunder Junction had years to come up with an actual name for this set. Outlaws of Thunder Junction. All right, well, it does communicate some of the themes that they're looking to communicate here. One of which being, this is a Western themed set. Now, apparently, Again, I don't want to yuck anybody's yum here. I really don't. But it's also partially my job to editorialize slightly. And I have to say, apparently they said that one of the most requested themes for a set consistently that they get is Western. Everyone wants a Western theme set. Maybe I'm the only person in the world, but I don't know. If you were to line up all the genres of fiction, all whatever it is, 100 different genres of fiction, and ask me to rank them, Western would be at the dead bottom. It's like Westerns all the way to the bottom, and then 99, like hentai. Like it's like it's that level. I just don't. I'm not personally a fan of Westerns. I think there's only been one or two that have ever been done right. At least again in my mind. I don't like them. I think they're dumb and boring, but but again, this is my opinion. If you like Westerns, I know a bunch of people in my personal life that really enjoy Westerns as a genre, and that's fine, but it's just not really something that I'm super interested in personally. Now, again, Wizards has decided to hedge their bets because they know that a bunch of people like me exist, and they've given me something that I can look forward to, because not only is this a Western theme set, it is the Disney Villains theme set. You see what they're doing is all of the like famous villains in Magic. I don't know if it's all of them, but a ton of famous villains from across Magic the Gathering history and across planes, because you can do that now with the Omen Paths. You can really tell that the Omen Paths thing was just a bunch of executives sitting around, like designers and executives being like, how can we get all these characters where we need them to be, right? And there's, Omen Paths. We'll just do a thing. We'll just do a thing now where you don't have to be a planeswalker to go wherever you want. Anyone can go wherever they want, and that is for marketing purposes. We focus grouped it, and it did really well. So that's how we get sets like this. I've already said, I wonder if Disney Lorcana has anything to do with this or that set coming out when it does. Wilds of Eldraine and all that being the Sleeping Beauty set. And I wonder if that has anything to do with Lorcana. I also, again, feel like the Disney villain set have a little tiny bit, just a slight. Can we just make a wild accusation here and say that's kind of very Disney of them to put all the villains together on a shirt and be like, buy this. But at the same time, despite like cynical outlook on marketing in 2023, it's wild out there. This is a cool idea, and I will buy it. So, as much as I want to trash their derivative ideas and stuff, I'm gonna eat it. Boom, here it is right here. Who's this lady with the big red hat? Is it Carmen Sandiego? I don't know. It could be anybody. Olivia Valdeana? It's probably Liliana, isn't it? We've also got a big demon man. It could be any of the 50 big demon men. There's also pretty obviously Vraska, and pretty obviously who I believe is actually Tiny Bones. It better be Tiny Bones, right? And then who knows who these people are. But one way or the other, I'm sure some of you have theories. Right? Is this like Obnix? Obnix doesn't have exactly these horns. It's like a Belzenlock? I have no idea who this is. Probably somebody really, really cool, though. But still, I think this is a cool idea for a set. Western theme and all that, even included. If you're going to do a big villain set, I guess a Western is a thing to do. I'm just interested in how they have this come together without it being silly and unsetty, but I'm pretty sure at this point in history, they've decided to not really care if a standard release is unsetty or not. As much as I sort of trash this set, I want to see it really, really bad, and something tells me you do too, don't you? Don't you? Come on, just deep down, even, don't you? Put your cynicism aside. Villain set is kind of a cool idea. But then we're doing Modern Horizons 3, baby. It's finally time for Modern Horizons 3. I know a lot of you are going to be really excited for this. Turns out that's where Hydra Lady's from. She's in Modern Horizons 3. She's a Hydra Lady from Modern Horizons 3. And also this boy right here. And maybe also kind of importantly, these boys right here. We got the Eldrazi crew coming through from Modern Horizons 3. That probably means something, big reprints or something like that. So, okay, Modern Horizons 3, reprint, more reprints. Everybody likes reprints. Everybody likes Modern Horizons, right? Is that a pretty well-received series of sets? Am I correct, or is it am I way off base here? Either way, Eldrazi coming in it. That's something to probably get excited for. I think maybe I overestimate how much people care about Eldrazi, but cool? I think it's cool. But I kind of blew through Modern Horizons 3 because A, I spent way too long on the villain set, and B, this is probably the set that I'm most excited for. Bloomburrow, you see on your screen. That's a cool name for a set, man. That's cool. Now, there's like 5 sets I'm excited for. The Final Fantasy set, yes, and like 2 other sets, maybe 3 that we'll get to towards the end of this video. But Bloomburrow, man, this thing looks cool. You know, not long ago, when we saw that art that kind of looks like Redwall art at the last panel, I saw a couple people say, like, what if we do a tiny animals set? Can we just have a set with tiny animals in it? Would that be a cool thing that we could do? And Bloomburrow is kind of that. It's just animals. This is just an all animal, all the time set. There's no humans or anything on this plane. As a matter of fact, I don't even think, from my understanding right now, that there are a whole lot of like mythical creatures on this plane. I'm pretty sure it's like animals that exist on Earth. You see a squirrel wizard of some kind here. Apparently all the stuff is to scale. So like they wear clothes, they wear armor, they have weapons and staffs and stuff, but it's all to scale. I think that's great and hilarious. You know, you see this art right here, which is just a gorgeous piece of art, let me say, by Gary Frederick. Absolutely incredible. Mark Rosewater says that this set is trying to evoke like a cozy vibe, sort of cottagecore, I guess. And honestly, I'm down with that, man. If you give me like a rich color palette with art that looks like this in terms of the overall art direction, and just a bunch of animals and stuff like that, I'm probably going to love it forever. And to my mind, I think this is going to be one of Magic's most popular settings of all time. And Mark Rosewater said something to that effect too. Like, this is the most charming location maybe ever, right? We're going to go back to another charming location too by the end of the video. We'll get to that. It's one that I can't wait to talk about. But this is a really, really interesting looking set. It looks super cute. Super charming is probably the right word, right? And I'm into it, man. I like an animal set. I really do. I like whimsy a whole lot. I like cute stuff, you know me. So, I don't know. I think this is going to be one that I'm looking forward to the most. Like, in my top 3 of all the stuff that they announced. Now, it's not going to be here until Q3 of 2024. So, a little less than a year before we get to Bloomburrow. But that's not actually that long to wait. But the next thing that we're going to look at is Duskmourn, House of Horror. Now, this... I am trying to decide whether or not I'm interested in. Let me put it that way. Let's look at a little art from this set. Let's go back and look at this one first. So they say that this is more of a modern sensibility sort of, you know, kind of set. If you'll see here, this guy in the art is wearing like a headband and an earring and a t-shirt and a jacket, right? He's got this sort of Ghostbusters-y, like it might be a Geiger counter or something, you know, some kind of technology. There's, but I guess that's all the 80s stuff in here. But, you know, this, again, it looks like the style of dress here is a little bit more modern sensibilities. So this is apparently inspired by like 70s and 80s horror films. And I think that that is probably going to be super sick and awesome. At the end of the day, I like a good horror set. You know, we've had Innistrad before, and that sort of calls upon like universal monsters and more like fantasy monsters sensibilities, right? Vampires and ghosts and werewolves and stuff. But this, the idea that we're going to get this more sort of, again, like 80s like slasher and body horror, that kind of thing. Really cool direction to take a set. And again, I cannot wait to see what they actually end up doing with this. The entire set apparently takes place, like the plane itself is apparently all one giant haunted house. I assume this is maybe the entrance to said haunted house, and the haunted house is a living, literally a living thing, as you can see here. And that's just, I think it's a really, really cool concept for a set. I do. I think there's ways you can screw this up and make it a little bit too, they say it's inspired by 70s and 80s horror, but if it's actually all just like Stranger Things, the standard set, then we'll see about it, right? Not taking anything away from Stranger Things. Interesting. It's a cool series and all, but altogether, I think that like a plane that functions as a living haunted house, the entire plane is effectively a haunted house, is really cool. Somebody read like House of Leaves. Or actually, you read a bunch of different things. There's actually a ton of different sort of stories about like a living house that's huge and you can't get out of it, sort of 1408 kind of thing. Even a 13 Ghosts kind of thing where the house is at that point so mechanical that it's organic and controlled by the ghosts. I don't know. I'm really going off here, but there's a lot of fiction about sort of a world contained within a haunted house. And I just think it's a really cool direction to take a set in. If you can't tell, I'm very excited for this one too. So I just think that both, you know, Bloomburrow and Duskmourn are super fertile ground for some awesome design and some, you know, some planes that, although again derivative, obviously someone in marketing, some executive was like, well, everyone loves Innistrad, let's we just do another Innistrad, right? So it is, you could just be cynical again and say that's what they're doing, but I really like Innistrad. I really like the idea of a, you know, a horror sort of genre set that's not restricted to the plane of Innistrad too. You know, you can do so much different stuff with this and just go hog wild. So really interested in this one. Again, I think it's in my top 3 or 5 things that they announced today. That's all the stuff that we got like big immersive looks at, and most of those didn't even tell us as much as I'd like to know, right? Not even close. But then we got some quick looks at what's going on in the next couple of years after 2024. So that's a pretty long time on the timeline to go. Let's see what we got. First of all, Innistrad Remastered, which is Innistrad Remastered. That's all you really have to know about it. Tennis, codename Tennis. Don't get too, in case you're new to this, don't get too bogged down in figuring out code names, because they never have anything to do with anything. They're just like a random word that fits with the theme that they're running with. From tennis on, they're doing this like sports theme that's in alphabetical order. T being the first letter in that alphabetical order. Anyway, Tennis is the racing set. We did get some images from this, like this garbage. I'm not really, I want to like this. I really do. But, you know, Mad Max meets Twisted Metal meets Mario Kart and all that. Like, I think it's, again, an interesting idea. And you guys don't know this, I really like racing. I really, really, really like racing. That said, you know, I like honey. I like soy sauce. Do I want honey in my soy sauce? I'm going to go try that as soon as this is over. I assume I don't want honey in my soy sauce. So I don't know. Hopefully this isn't actually like a tie-in with the Fast and the Furious or something. That's what they're going to spring on us, isn't it? Maybe it's a tie-in with Mario Kart 9 finally coming out. Doesn't this look like a Mario Karty device here? But one way or the other, I could see a racing set being cool, but I'm not as excited about this as I am, you know, Bloomburrow or Duskmourn or anything like that. But one thing I will say about this that kind of pricked my ears up is that this is going to be a multi-planar set. Again, marketing really wants them to use those Omen Pass. We open them up, let's use them as much as we can in terms of like how we conceptualize sets. I do like that it's giving the designers a little bit more freedom in that avenue. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can tell that there's a marketing department behind some of these decisions. Let's open it up, and instead of there being, you know, one plane per set, now we can do these multi-planar sets, and this appears to be the first one, where there's going to be this multi-planar death race that takes place on 3 different planes. I believe they said 2 of them we've been to before, and then another one has been like alluded to in flavor text and in story and stuff, but we've never actually been there. So I don't know what those planes are, and I don't really feel like speculating at this point. I do think that he also said that one of the planes that they're going to do for this is one that people really want to go back to. So that's kind of interesting, right? But one way or the other, this is obviously going to be a vehicle theme set, if I had to guess, right? So we'll see if they can pull it off. We'll see if the aesthetic is nice, you know, how are they going to actually make this work? I'm open to it, and I think that that's more than a lot of people can say. I've seen some kind of negative reaction to this so far, but I think it could be cool if you do it right. Like this ghost skull riding like a flaming car, like dune buggy thing. It's really, that again, that has a chance to be cool. Even though I am above the age of 10 years old, that still has a chance of being cool in my mind. So I don't know, man. You just got to do it right. But anyway, then we move to Ultimate here, which is actually just a return to Tarkir, baby. We're going back to Tarkir. Everybody wants to do it all the time. They're finally doing it. I don't know how I feel about this concept art. It's a good piece of art, but I don't know. I wish that we got to see more from the set, but this is literally the only thing that we got to see from the set at all, image-wise, and that is more than we got to see for a lot of stuff moving forward from here. So just the fact that they're doing this, it is a standard legal set that will be coming sometime in 2025, I believe. So can't wait to go back to Tarkir, man. We're going to have to wait a good long time to do it, but just knowing that we're going to do it, you know, really gives you something to look forward to. I know a lot of people love Tarkir. I am not quite as in love with Tarkir as a lot of people are, even though I have a soft spot for it. Tarkir is when we started the channel in the first place. You know, we started doing Fate Reforged. The first ever video, I think, was like Fate Reforged set review or something like that. So, man, we have come a long way since then. It's been like 8 years, that means, and it'll be 9 by the time we actually go back. Almost a full decade since we've been to Tarkir by the time we'll get there again. And that's wild to me. It does not feel like it's been that long, but it's about time, in that case, to go back and see what's going on Tarkir. So, kind of can't wait to see what they do again mechanically with this one. Are there going to be, 3 color factions, or are they all busted up because of where we are in the timeline at this point, because of the Phyrexian invasion? Apparently, this is going to be the start of what they're calling the Dragon Storm or Dragon Force. I think it's called the Dragon Storm arc. That's going to last a few sets moving into the last arc. So, this is part of a multi-year arc that actually forms one long arc, but it's the second part of a 3-part arc. I don't know why they think they're George Lucas all of a sudden, but that's what they're doing. It's that, Wilds of Eldraine is going to start a 3-year arc, and it's going to be the first part of it. This will be the second part of it, I believe, again, the Dragonstorm arc. And it makes sense that we're going to go to Tarkir for that. So who knows what's actually going to happen once we get to Tarkir, but again, just pretty glad that we're going back. It's a cool place to be. But then everybody, we move to volleyball. This is the set that I might be least excited for. Speaking of George Lucas, here's some volleyball concept art. Now, in case you can't tell, we're going to space. We are in space. Space! This is a space island over here, I'm pretty sure. There's a space mountain. Well, they really rip off Disney a lot, don't they? A space mountain. And this is a space plane? Or maybe it is also a space island. Maybe this is a space mountain. This is a space mountain. This is a space swamp, isn't it? It's something like that. These are all basics, is what I'm getting at. This looks like concept art from Treasure Planet or something. Mid-90s failure of a movie. Again, bringing up Disney a lot in this video, but in any case, cool, maybe cool to a lot of people. I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum. Again, I'm against the yucking of yums. If you're super interested in Magic the Gathering does Star Wars, I can't wait for it. Is there going to be a UB crossover? If there is, it's going to be huge. God, it's going to be enormous if they actually pull that off. I doubt they will, right? But one way or the other. Some people are going to really like the idea of a space set. I feel like we just did a space set in an unset, and now we're doing a space set in standard. This is a standard legal set where we are going to go to space, and it is somehow going to continue the Dragon Force arc. I'm not really sure how, but it's going to continue the arc from Tarkir. In space, space, space. So I'm just not into space that much. I think space is cool in real life. Right? I think that the concept of what's out there and the fact that we actually somehow know a good bit about what's out there, and then we also only actually know like 2% of what's out there. It's like the ocean, you know what I mean? It's like, we theorize about what's out there. We have pictures of some of the stuff, right? But by the same token, it's this giant empty chasm, and that's sort of interesting to me, right? Like I like learning about space in real life. When it comes to fiction, for some reason, I do not give a crap about space. It just not really a thing that interests me at all. But if you want to check out the Star Wars set because you're a big fan of space and science fiction, then that's totally fine. You buy it. That's fine. But then we move on to wrestling. Now, this one is, get ready for it, y'all, a return to Lorwyn. We're finally going back to Lorwyn, man. It took long enough, but we're doing it, and it's called wrestling. So they listened to me specifically. Maybe that's what's going on, is that all of these places that we're going back to are code names for YouTubers' favorite planes. Huh? That's what it is? And so my favorite plane is Lorwyn. They know that, so they named it wrestling because that's my thing. So what YouTuber likes volleyball? We can crack this code. We can make this work. One way or the other. We're going back to Lorwyn. We didn't get any art from this whatsoever, but this is the set that I have, the plane that I have most consistently wanted to go back to for the last 15, 17, 20 years. How long has it been since Lorwyn? It's been at least 17 years since Lorwyn. And I just, God, I can't wait for this one. And I wish I could tell you more. I wish I could show you more in art and stuff like that and speculate on what's going on. But I can't. We don't know anything about it other than we are going back to Lorwyn. And that is awesome. Like, I really cannot stress enough and throw enough superlatives at the fact. I can't get excited enough and hype enough for a YouTube video to let you know that this is probably the product that I am actually the most excited for. I reserve my number one for Lorwyn. So let's move on to yachting, which is this actually destroys my theory because I don't think there's a Magic the Gathering YouTuber that's rich enough to enjoy yachting. There's no way, right? But in any case, this is yet another return. I'm fine with it. Look, I think that some people are going to get stuck on this part, but we're doing a bunch of returns. We're also doing like 2 or 3 brand new places that look awesome. Like Bloomburrow looks great. Duskmourn looks great. And I already can't wait to go back to them, even though we've never been there before. We're doing Murders at KARLOV Manor, which is a return to Ravnica, but it's still like a mechanically interesting sort of thing. So thematically interesting. So I don't mind these returns, especially when they're places I want to go back to. Wrestling again is Lorwyn. Yachting is Arcadia, whatever it's called. It's Strixhaven. We're going back to Strixhaven playing to see what's going on, you know, after the invasion and the events of the Dragon Storm arc and all that. So I really like Strixhaven a lot. I have a whole video that's like, you know, in defense of Strixhaven because I like this plane so much. And I even like the set in standard. I like the power level of it. I thought it was a really cool set with cool characters and a nice design. I thought it was a way to do guilds without having to do guilds and all that. I thought it was mechanically, again, unique because it was kind of guildy, but they did stuff they'd never really focused on in terms of these color combinations. I loved Strixhaven. I really did. I thought it was a cool setting and all that. So kind of can't wait to go back to it, to be honest. I like that they're doing it kind of so soon. Didn't take long to get back to Strixhaven, but again, it's going to be like 3 years from now, so it's going to feel like longer by then, right? So, I don't know. I like Strixhaven. I've made no, excuses. I've made no bones about the fact that I really like Strixhaven, so I don't think my take is surprising here. But I think a lot of people are not really going to care. I don't know how many people actually like Strixhaven. I might be the only guy. So 2 sets in a row for just me, but I'm pretty excited about that, as you can imagine. And then finally, this is going to be a long video. We finished everything up with ziplining. Somehow this is going to be longer than the actual video itself, which is only like 36 minutes. How does that happen? Anyway, ziplining, apparently they can't tell us who the villain is or where it happens or any of that. They can't give us any of the themes. But what we can say is that this is going to be what they call a capstone event. Think War of the Spark or March of the Machine, right? The culmination of a big 3-year arc that actually has like 3 little mini arcs that encompass it, right? So yeah, they've ended the alphabet. That's the end of 2026. It's going to end this arc, and then Magic's over, I guess. Mark did say they're working on other sets after this, but they're still in like early stages of conceptualization and all that. So there is more after this. Don't get scared or anything, but still, this is going to be the ultimate culmination of a 3-year arc that encompasses a bunch of other little arcs and stuff like that in a capstone world-ending event. I don't know if it's going to be world-ending, but it's just a huge event, right? So again, we don't really know anything about it beyond that, including location, villain, hero, whatever, right? Themes, story. But what we do know is that it's going to be big. It's going to be huge. Whatever happens in this set is going to be just a big old party. So we'll see what they have planned for that. But that's more or less all that we got to see. It's a lot. It was so much. I'm sorry this video is like 40 minutes long. If you actually watched the entire thing and got to the end, I really appreciate that. Thanks for being here. I appreciate if you like, subscribe, and do all that stuff. It helps me out a lot. Join the Patreons. You can vote on content and all that stuff. All right, you can check me out on Twitch. All that stuff's cool, but I'm just really glad that you're still here. really, that you watched the entire video. That shows dedication. That just means all you really wanted was to see the couch card of the video, right? Am I right? That's probably what's going on. So let's wheel over here for a second and take a look at what this card is. I hope it's good. Is it a good card? No, it's Angel. It's Angel of Glory's Rise. Can you see that? I don't know. It's going to be backwards, isn't it? Yep. Angel of Glory's Rise is Timmy Bait. It is 7 mana, 5 and 2 white for a 4/6 angel with flying. When it ETBs, exile all zombies. Return all human creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. A reanimatable sideboard piece in standard just a few years ago that people would run a 1 of in their sideboard 15. So didn't really have a whole lot of playing standard, but it didn't get there. It did get there. It was in a list or two every now and again as a techie little piece. So I guess that it is, in some ways, a tiny part of Magic history. Thank you, Angel of Glory's Rise. I appreciate you existing. But that's all I've got for this one. Again, just check out the Patreon. It's what really supports me around here and helps me pay my rent and keep doing this for a living. So YouTube pays me a little bit. Patreon is what actually makes me do this for a living. So help me out. It's just $1 a month to vote on content, and there's a lot to do before we get to spoiler season, which is August the 15th officially for Wilds of Eldraine. So for no other reason, subscribe for that, right? But that's all I got for this one. I guess I got to let you go because I have taken way too much of your time already today. I will catch you cats later. I am Deb from The Place. Thanks for watching, Wizards. Spread love and be kind.